Hey, what's going on? It is the Dharma Guy here, and you're listening to Dharma Time on WPSN99.com, the problem-solving network, where we stream solutions.
Yes, we do.
And I'm joined with Mr. Producer over here, the Dope Doctor. What's up?
Yeah, buddy, what's up? How you doing, Trinity?
I'm doing well, and I'm not even going to pretend.
No, we're on vacation.
We're recording. We're on vacation.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this live, or if you're listening to this as it's airing on Tuesday, I'm actually probably at home relaxing with my kids or doing something.
Yeah.
You, my friend, are going to be what, Carolina?
No, it's Tuesday.
Yeah.
I'm driving to Miami right now.
You're driving to Miami right now.
Yeah.
And I am relaxing because I just got back from the Bahamas, and I'm at home kind of probably wishing that it was a little bit longer.
I'm in South Beach. I'm on South Beach.
Very cool.
Beautiful
Nice.
Beach.
Make sure you go to Mangoes.
I am going to Mangoes again. We
I
already
like
have
Mangoes.
reservations. The
Really?
whole family, taking the girls.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome. I love Mangoes.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We just finished the other show that you hopefully were listening to last week. And so I'm still fresh in from Tennessee, feeling pretty good now. I think I've calmed down. The caffeine has worn off a little bit.
Yep.
And so I am able to kind of find my Zen place, if you will.
Nice.
But anyways, so the show today, after much debate, we came up with what we thought would be. We did, man.
You use that word debate.
Yeah, that's
all
not a
the
bad
time.
word, though. Debate's a good word.
Debate equals conflict.
No, debate is just two different ideas merging together as one sometimes. Different definition.
Why don't you ever use the word communicate? After
'Cause
communication.
that sounds very... Dude, you want me to sound whiter than I am? We were communicating earlier, and we came up with some... No, man.
You trying to say debate is a brown thing?
No, I'm saying
Okay,
debate is a cool thing.
Oh. White is cool. Make white cool again.
I'm trying, bro. I'm
Trinity,
trying.
Make white
I'm
cool again.
Desperately trying. But anyways, so
Be Larry Bird, bro.
the topic
Be Larry Bird.
the topic that we came up with was embracing the extreme ?
Question.
Meaning embrace the extreme. I guess that'd be the raising my
Embrace the extremes.
yeah raising my octave there.
Yeah.
So embracing the extreme meaning essentially, we as human beings have this bad habit sometimes of not only thinking certain emotions are bad, but then taking them to a bad place in the sense of going to super extremes. Like
Right.
some of the examples that we were kind of throwing around was instead of being angry, you go to rage. And for those of you who experienced both of them, there's a vast difference between the two.
Right.
Anger, I'm all right with anger. I can
Yeah.
work with anger. Anger's totally cool. It's a understood emotion. Good things happen from
Right.
anger sometimes.
And I think that's the only way to do it, Trinity. If you can do it that way, I think it'll be much more effective for the audience.
What's that?
If you just let's take a good 8 of them. Let's call it 8, 7, 8,
All right.
and then break them down. So let's start with anger. So angry
do it.
versus rage, right?
Yes.
All right. So let's start with that one.
Well, first off, I'll say that
Who doesn't get angry? How about that?
well, I've experienced both of them, right?
Right.
I've experienced anger. I still have anger.
Right.
I'm still human.
Right.
I've got little kids that choose to not listen sometimes, and that can make me angry. It's really my expectations, essentially. I expect them to do something I don't, and I get kind of angry or disappointed, if you will.
Right.
And anger I'm okay with. Anger reminds me that, first of all, anger reminds me I have growth to make still.
Right.
Anger reminds me that I'm alive. Anger is a very healthy emotion. There's been a lot of rooms in my house that have been cleaned due to anger. You get angry, you got to let that steam off. You go clean or do whatever.
Right.
And that's actually what my wife does a lot. When my wife is angry, sometimes she'll go disappear and go clean.
Right.
Instead of fighting or stuff like that, she'll just go clean, and we have a very clean house. So
I like it.
yeah.
I think I got to go piss Dana off a little bit more.
There you go. But on the other side of that, you have rage. And to me, rage is very unhealthy.
Right.
Rage is dangerous. That's
Right.
when some bad things can happen. Rage is when people get hurt. Rage is where you can hurt yourself, you can hurt others, you can destroy things.
You're out of control.
You're out of control for sure. And not very many positive things come out of rage. I guess if I'm playing devil's advocate in a roundabout way, I could see some sort of positive coming from rage, meaning if you did something that required you to be forced into help, then I could see that maybe kind of ending.
No, the positive that comes out of rage, they shut up.
Yeah,
That's
right.
the unfortunate thing.
Well,
Sometimes it's rewarded. No,
yeah.
that is a problem. Sometimes it's rewarded, so it's duplicated.
Yeah. I was definitely under the belief system, if you will, that rage was a good thing. I used to always laugh when I would tell people when I would be filled with rage and I would want to hurt somebody or break something, and they would tell me, "Oh, it doesn't solve anything." Yeah, it does. It solved it for me.
Yeah, it made me feel better.
Yeah, it made me feel great right then.
Yeah, that's the problem.
When I could punch a hole in a wall or do whatever.
You embraced it.
Yeah,
you embraced the extreme.
I did.
Rather than accepting the norm, which is anger.
Sure.
Because that's really what today's all about, right? Is accepting that the normal part of it, and accepting that you're there, acknowledging it, accepting it, talking about it, doing something about it, or like what you just said, instead you let it fly and you embraced the extreme part of it and made it part of your persona.
Yeah, it made it part of who I was.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I identified.
You identified yourself.
Identified as the rageful guy, as that powerful, get out of my way.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people doing that, huh? With anger. With
absolutely.
Anger.
But at the same token, where I'm at now in my life, I see the flaw in that whole thing.
Right.
Because no matter how powerful I felt, to be honest with you, rage shows me how powerful you're not. Meaning you just gave me your power if I caused you to get rageful.
Right.
If I caused you to get so angry to the point where you lost control of your temper and you did things that are either harmful to yourself or whatever, I won.
Yeah.
I got you. I made you do all that like a little puppet master. I did this and watch them go. I can wind you up and let you go off and away. And that's how I was, So as much as I thought I was the big bad one, really I wasn't. I was volatile and I was weak. I was weak to the point where I wasn't able to withstand the barrage of whatever it was that was coming at me in a way where I can remain, composed. And I think that's what the extreme does.
Yeah.
Because I think the extreme takes you out of that control issue. Towards anger, I can control anger.
Right.
I can direct anger. I can work with anger.
Right.
Rage takes over.
And you can artistically create.
Oh, there's been beautiful things made out of anger.
You don't just clean your house.
No,
you just create.
We've seen paintings from people who have been painting in anger. It's when you got that emotion, you can put it out there.
Right, in an artistic form.
Yeah, it can be a beautiful thing, and it's very relatable. Yeah. I think.
Yeah, rage artistically is that's when you break.
Rage is a broken canvas.
You break the
rage
canvas.
Rage is destroyed.
Just can't share that.
Yeah, and so I think, that's where the extremes come into play, and I think that, that's a bad thing, man.
So I'll throw you another one.
I don't know how much good comes from rage, basically.
I'll throw you another. Happiness.
Okay.
Happy.
You got happy, and what, manic would be the extreme on that one?
Yeah, that would be the extreme, I guess.
So I would say then that happy, happy's great, man. I mean, I'm happy.
Who doesn't want to be happy?
Yeah. Now, granted, I think my definition of happiness has evolved over the years.
Correct.
There was a point in my life where I defined happiness as pleasure.
Right.
And as things, quote unquote, going good or things that I liked. The problem with that is all those things are impermanent, so they went away.
Right.
So for me, where I'm at now, happiness is more along the lines of acceptance, and I'm kind of I'm good, no matter where I'm at.
Right.
It's much more, as you would say, much more 5 than 10. 10 is woohoo, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's
1 is like 5 is like all right, I'm good.
It's good to be chill.
And to me, that's where I aim for just trying to be okay.
Right.
And I think happiness is
because you got to crash, you got to come down.
Yeah.
I don't like to come down.
But happiness is important because I think when you're happy, better yet, when you allow yourself to be happy, you attract different things to your life.
Yeah.
You present yourself in a different way. It's a much different persona that you're taking on. It's much more pleasurable to be around. You're going to get more opportunities in life because I know now when I'm quote unquote happy compared to when I was angry or even rageful. A lot more people want to be around me now, and a lot more people are willing to extend opportunities to me. Perfect example right now. The reason why we're doing this show is I just got back from Tennessee, and they wanted me to come and talk to people.
Yep.
They didn't want me to come talk to people because I was a rageful jerk. They want me to come talk to people because I was more calm, relaxed, and I exuded a different persona, if you will. So I wasn't getting those kinds of opportunities when I was walking around angry and bitter at the world. So happiness, there's something to be said for that.
And if you don't embrace the happiness and you don't accept the happiness to where it's at, and being okay with it, and it turns into manic, the problem with it, Trinity, is sometimes like the manic. I unfortunately love my manic phases. You know, when I'm in mania,
right.
The problem with it is that pleasure impulses per second, just like with the rage, like we talked about the rage. Like
good.
I used to like the rage, and I got to admit, those pleasure impulses per second are firing.
Right.
Same thing with mania.
See, it's hard for me to relate to that because I don't personally feel that I've ever experienced a mania.
Oh my God.
I've seen it.
Right.
And it feels very destructive when I watch it. To be honest with you.
It's so destructive.
Yeah, it feels destructive watching it.
Well, because you just make really poor decisions when you're manic.
Very impulsive. Very
impulsive.
You know, it's like you're chasing that.
Everything feels good. Yeah, everything feels good. So like, there's no rules. You could jump off anything.
Yeah.
You run real fast into anything, any decisions.
Right.
So you drive reckless, you act reckless, you behave reckless. You'll kiss anybody.
I mean that's those are all the stereotypical things, right?
Right. You'll say
acting out sexually
such horrible things to people sometimes because it's funny to you in your manic phase.
Yeah, I've never personally dealt with that. Like I've never had that, and I haven't had too many people close to me go through it, but I've seen it in others. Right. But yeah, it feels very destructive. It feels very like, whoa, like
slow down there, Sparky,
bro. Like, hold on, you know, did you not realize 2 + 2 = 4? Like, you know, there is an end there.
Yeah.
And that leads me to the next aspect of it is the crash.
Yeah.
Right. No matter how good, and that's what Buddhism teaches us is the impermanence of everything.
Right.
And you know, it can be helpful when you think of all the negative and bad things and say, hey, there's impermanence to that too.
Right.
No matter how bad it is, it's going to stop at some point. But the thing that people don't typically think about is the good ends too.
Right.
No matter how good things are, there's a certain amount of disappointment with it because it comes to an end. No matter how great it is, it will stop.
So what's the crash of that manic phase?
I got to imagine it's horrible. I got to imagine the crash was horrible. It goes from manic all the way down to depression.
I'll tell you the crash of manic.
The floor opens up.
The crash of manic is just normalcy is no longer enjoyed.
That 5 feels really boring.
That 5 feels so slow.
Yeah.
It feels like you just went to the some. I don't want to offend anybody in
Go ahead,
in the central part of the United States, but you know those little towns in the central United States, somewhere in Iowa or something, where it just feels like all you're doing is watching corn grow.
Definitely not Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Definitely not. Well, maybe a little bit outside of Murfreesboro, but definitely not Nashville.
No.
Which is right outside Murfreesboro.
Sure. No, I feel what you're saying.
What's the crash of the rage?
The crash of the rage?
Yeah, we forgot to do the crash part on the rage.
It's been so long, man. I have to really think about that. Actually.
Guilt, I would think. Shame. Apology. You can end up in jail.
Yeah, I would say
the rage is over. You kind of wake up from it. Next thing you know, oh crap! I got arrested. I hurt somebody. I killed somebody. I actually.
Yeah, I think
I wrecked my car I've wrecked my car on purpose. I don't know if you've ever done. I've wrecked my car against somebody or against on purpose.
Well, as a matter of fact, I have a story on that one.
Okay.
So I have. We talked about this on our last show, actually, where I had this unique ability because of the pain and trauma I went through, to where I could be rageful and not really care afterwards, no matter what I did. And that held true for the most part with other people and things around the house and stuff. My house was like a war zone. There's like holes all over the walls. I mean, I was just an angry little kid. There was one instance that I remember I felt really guilty about.
Right.
There was we had this big entertainment center in our house. You know, the bold, it was in the 80s, dude. 80s and 90s. So this big, huge, like wooden ones. There was my mom and I got into like an argument, and I remember going up to the entertainment center, and just out of rage and out of anger, I hit the entertainment center with my hands, like an offensive lineman where you just kind of thrust up against it, with your hands. And it kind of, I guess even then I was bigger and stronger than I realized. I mean, I was 200 pounds in middle school, so I was a big kid. So when I hit the thing, the whole entertainment center like moved and hit the wall.
Oh wow!
But my mom had a birth plate, the plates that give when you're born and stuff, and it fell and it broke. And when it first happened,
your birth plate,
my birth plate.
Oh man!
When it first happened, I didn't really care. I was like, whatever, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But my mom found it and she started crying.
Oh man!
And I remember going in the bedroom and taking a shower, and realizing at that moment I felt really bad. Like, what did I just do? Like, because it impacted her in a way. Because my mom was the only one that was like always there for me. She was the one that kind of stuck through me for different things and gave me that that love that I needed as a child. So that was like the last person I ever really wanted to hurt. So that was like one of the only ones that I would feel any sort of remorse or guilt towards.
Yeah.
If I hurt somebody else, I didn't care. Like, whatever, get out of my way. You don't mean anything to me. I mean, I did, but I was able to turn it off, I guess.
Yeah.
But that was the one time where, man, my coming down off that rage, because I was very rageful at that moment. Wasn't even thinking, just hit the thing. and even when it broke. But when I saw her crying, I was just like, what did I just do?
Yeah.
And I felt really bad about that.
You ever replaced that plate?
I glued it back together. Matter of fact, I think she still has it.
Speaking about them, and
yeah, they all just showed up.
They all just showed up all of a sudden.
But yeah, I glued it back together basically.
Right.
You know, you guys are on air right now, by the way.
Yeah,
so this is all being recorded.
So. Yeah, you're being video recorded right here for
so
the show.
Just so you guys walked in was my daughter Skylar and her friend Sam.
You notice they stayed right in frame. But,
they were like,
but your mom said a curse word. You know, at least mouthed it. I can read lips. You know.
So mind you, the young ones over here on the trip out here, they all went to the beach while we're doing this.
Right.
They're taking like 150 selfies in the car to get the right one.
Oh,
so there's no surprise that they're staying for the camera.
Talk about embracing the extreme, right?
Yeah, right.
All right, so let's talk about another one. What about sadness? Sadness.
Okay, so sadness.
Sadness is the norm. Everybody experiences it.
Yeah, I would say the extreme obviously would be depression.
Yeah.
And I would say sadness is a good thing as well. You know, I honestly wish I felt more sadness. I think, and when I say I wish I felt more sadness, I think I'm really meaning I wish I could cry more. Like I don't really cry very often, and I can imagine that's such an amazing release for people to be able to cry. Like I'm very envious of people who can cry.
Me too. That's one of mine too.
Yeah, I'm very envious because there was a point in my life as a man I used to think that was like a weak thing, you know, you little sissy. But now as an adult, I look at it and it's like, man, that's got to feel good. That's got to feel great to just let that out.
Right.
And I think sadness is a good thing. It helps you be alive. It helps you understand and appreciate things a little bit differently. Right. So if you can keep it in there, and men, if you're listening to this, man, stop. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be sad, man. It's okay. Yeah. Embrace that. Just don't embrace the extreme, though. But
yeah, you know, speaking of that, what's weird is because as a little kid, I cried a lot.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Did I cry a lot as a little kid?
My
mom was here, by the way. She said, she said this.
Yeah, well, you didn't have well, your dad should have made you cry. My brother made me cry.
He just made me angry.
And then that's how it came out at first. It would come out in those rageful cries, those kinds of cries. Right. It wasn't like a normal, like, I never had a sad cry. It was like you don't understand me, nobody loves me cry. Okay. You know that cry, right? Yeah. Right. So I used to do that a lot. And then all of a sudden it turned off. There came a certain level of drug use that hit it, I guess, and all of a sudden it turned off. A certain level of experience kicked, and then it turned off. Right. And then it until 9 years sober did I cry again. Really? Yeah. And what made it? What caused it? Oh man, that's a horrible story. Oh, no, it's not a horrible story.
Did it get us all in the feels now? Or?
No. Well, but you know, for such a time, you know, I was afraid of that depression part, right? Because I don't know what that really felt like. Sure. So I didn't even allow the sadness to kick in. I would ignore it anyway. But no, there was a time where a good friend of mine, you know, I believed in him, and then he ended up going to prison. So I lost another good friend that went to prison, and then I knew he was going to get deported. And I already lost friends to deportation. Sure. I already lost friends to not being able to live in this country anymore for some of the decisions we were making as young people. So
this was pre-Trump, right?
Yeah, this is pre-Trump. This is when we actively choose to defy and jump back over the border. But this guy he was getting deported. And so I put an empty chair next to me at a meeting. And it wasn't just about him, but I put an empty chair next to me at a meeting. I was chairing a meeting, a 12-step meeting. Wow. And as soon as I started thinking and talking about why I put an empty chair next to me, I remembered all the dead people all the people that were doing life imprisonment and all the people that were not allowed back in this country. And I remembered how I avoided every single one of those bullets. Wow. And they didn't. Yeah, that's and it all hit me. And for one brief moment, I experienced an extreme emotion of guilt that I'm not used to. Right. And I had one of those cries, Trinity, where those that's a good one right there, man. People, wow. But I couldn't even talk. Wow. And I couldn't even talk, and it was a horrible one. Wow. And so, but what came out of it though, Trinity, was from that moment, I could feel where I could tear up now. Now since that day, I can tear up, and I can't really get a good cry. Yeah, I can't. You know, my eyes can water, or maybe I can. You know, no, I haven't really lost a lot, but I could, I think. But I can get emotional, and so that's one of those things I just had to share. That once you accept the sadness and don't fear that it could turn into something worse, then it becomes more normal again. Yeah, and then to go into the extreme, right? The depression part. You know, first of all, I think we need to differentiate between clinical depression, where there's an issue with chemicals in your brain, things of that nature,
as opposed to kind of like situational, or something's happening and I can't get out of my feels.
Right.
But I never really, most of my quote unquote depression, if you want to call it that, when I was younger, I didn't view it as depression. It just made me more rageful.
Right.
So I didn't go inward. I went outward type of deal.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
But I can actually now relate to the depression part because of the testosterone and estrogen stuff that was happening not too long ago.
Oh,
yeah.
So now you crave ice cream and stuff.
I do, man. And
watch Sleeping in Seattle.
Are you calling me fat? Why are you calling me fat?
That's a good one.
There you go. So no, but
I'm talking more like sobbing, eating the whole tub of ice cream, where you're sitting there watching Sleepless in Seattle.
Well, I haven't made it home yet, so
yeah, there you go.
But no, the way I can relate to it now was when my estrogen was like through the roof,
right? Because
we were taking testosterone shots,
right?
And my doctor didn't put me on a aromatase inhibitor, so my estrogen was through the roof. I could totally understand now depression. Like I never in my life could I could understand it. I guess I could have empathy for it, but I didn't truly understand it until going through that. And even now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I completely understand clinical depression, because I don't. But I can understand despair, and to me, that's very similar, if not the same damn thing. And despair when you have no hope for the future, when you have no hope that whatever you're going through is going to end, that's a bad thing, man. That is a hard thing to deal with. That's a hard thing to come out of.
Right.
For me, like I knew logically that wasn't the case, but emotionally, man, I just felt that was it. Yeah. It was done. There was no hope.
It's over.
It's done forever. Yeah. Which is completely unrealistic, unreasonable even, but it didn't stop my brain from going there though.
Right.
And that's where and so that would be the extreme, and that is to not be embraced by anybody at all.
Yeah,
I would not embrace that.
And more recently, we've lost 2 major celebrities. And, and hopefully by the time this airs, it's not 3.
Oh, please no.
But Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain, both people that were icons in their industry.
You see, I didn't know the Kate Spade very much, but Anthony Bourdain, that one.
I know the name. I can't say I know the fashion. I can't say that if I saw like something that she created, I would know it's a Kate Spade.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
But I did know the name. But I did know Anthony Bourdain, and I did watch. It's actually one of the only. It's the only book from a chef that I've ever read.
Really?
Yeah, I read that book, and it was a good book on addiction and a good book on overcoming. So it's actually a really good book.
He was a really good narrator on his show.
Great storyteller.
Yeah, very much.
Very human, very raw.
Yeah.
But as much as people was calling him brutally honest, no, unfortunately, that's the problem. Is that the level of honesty was restricted to the knowledge rather than knowing. Look, if you're addicted to one thing, you're probably addicted to that alcohol that you keep drinking on the air. You're still drinking. But anyway, in anywhere, that's where the depression can go as well. Is you start reaching out,
and that's some of the inward stuff too.
You start reaching out for things that can make you feel better. So that when you're not embracing it at the sadness level, and you let it, get in that depression level, and you don't like it, unfortunately, you might start self-medicating, and that can lead to suicide or harmful living.
Yeah, and I can't imagine what that's like to be in that situation where you go through with it.
And I don't want to.
No,
but that's why we're talking about it today. Yeah. We want people to not embrace the extremes. We want them to accept the normalcy part. So let's the next one then. I'll give you another one.
All right.
What about loving?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That was a new one for me too.
It's normal to be loving, right?
Yeah.
It's good to be loving.
And then the extreme obviously would be clingy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So starting with loving, that one is a huge one I think too, especially for some men who and women as well. But I'm obviously a man, so that's the perspective I'm going to go from. I know for me, there was a time in my life where I didn't feel safe to love. Right? It was like it was like a vulnerability there that I didn't want to go anywhere near. It felt very weak. It felt very like sissy almost. Like, what's the matter with you, boy?
Yeah, yeah.
So much to the point to where when my daughter was first born, I had to force myself to tell her I loved her because I knew as a girl and as my daughter she needed to hear it.
Right.
So I had to force myself to say it, even though I felt really dirty and uncomfortable saying it. I did. Now I
why dirty?
I don't know. I just didn't feel. I hated it. I hated the feeling of saying I love you. It bothered me. I didn't like it at all. I refused to do it half the time. There was girls in my past that would say it to me and be like, "Oh, you too," or "Ditto," or something like that.
Mrs. Phillips, did he say "I love you" to you as a little kid? No. Are you Well, you freak out when I give you a hug. So are you just not that loving, nurturing mom? Is that what
she
it
was
is?
not the huggy type.
You're not the huggy type? Look, we can say anything on the air right now because you're not on.
She's the huggy type to my her grandkids.
When he was little, yeah. All right.
But no, but yeah. So for me, I didn't know the joy of love until later on in my life, I guess.
Yeah.
But where I'm at now, it's probably one of the most beautiful things that are out there.
Yeah.
But
not that clingy thing.
No, the clingy thing is that's a bit much, man.
That's not love. When you guys think you're loving somebody and you get clingy, that's not love. Where does that come from, Trini? What do you think that clinging is? Some of it. I mean, obviously, it can be different. Yeah. Insecurity. Like you're gonna leave me.
Well, when you place your value in somebody else's hands, I think that's always a bad move.
Yeah.
When you define your value based upon how somebody else views you or how they feel about you, I think number one, you're putting too much faith in another human being.
Yeah.
Number two, you don't know what the other human being's capabilities are. That person might not be capable of loving you the way you need it, and you're putting all your value in that person's hands.
Right.
So that's a bad move. But yeah, I think
that just pushes them away, doesn't it?
Absolutely, it does.
But I love you. No, yeah, but that's not what you're not showing me love. You're showing me clingy.
Well, it's unhealthy, is what it is.
Yeah, you're like a wart.
Wow, that's an interesting analogy, but all right, we'll go with it.
Well, what else? Like, what else would you call it?
Scab, I guess, maybe. I don't know.
We'll
go with wart. It's a weird word, but we'll go with it.
I never think of a clingy person like a scab.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that was just the first thing that popped in my head.
There's something unwanted like herpes.
There you go.
Which is weird to say when your daughter's in the room now.
Oh God, yeah.
It's weird. You get your daughter and your mom's in the room. That changes. That makes us even more PG than before.
Yeah,
it was already PG-13. Now it's
don't get it twisted.
PG
they're 14 and almost 14 and 16. So they've heard probably anything we're gonna say, and they've probably seen videos on it.
No, they're probably worse.
Probably,
but they're not my kids.
I mean, I would hope not.
So I don't want the angry letter from the parent.
When Angel gets home, I'm gonna have her call you.
Right.
But no. So I think embracing the love is a good thing. I think that people sometimes feel that that's a dirty word, or they feel like it's unsafe to be vulnerable, that kind of stuff. And to kind of maybe I guess branch off just a little tiny bit here,
right?
Which I know is unheard of for us, but
squirrel.
I don't think that we teach our young boys enough to love.
How to love, yeah.
I don't think we do. I think that we teach them the way we love is physical. Like even, and I'm guilty of it too, as much as I don't want to be. Yeah. My boy I'm a little bit rougher with.
Yeah.
And that's how I show my love for him and everything, to where I'll hug the girls and stuff. Right. And so I try to catch myself doing that and give him more physical attention in a loving manner.
That's nice.
Because I don't think that we just take for granted as adults knowing how to love, but I don't think we teach our boys how to do that.
Yeah.
And then we're surprised when they do it, in destructive ways, maybe.
Yeah.
And then sometimes when you see adults, they don't know how to show their love. Yeah. They're unaware or they're unable to give it.
So you'd find it odd. I kiss my father on the cheek still, even my brother. So you would find that odd.
No, I mean I wouldn't do it, but
right.
But just I don't do that to my mom, so
right.
I don't really, I don't really do it. I don't know if I view it as odd. Right. I think there was a point in my life where I would have said so.
Right. Because that's my normal.
Right.
The men. That's what we do.
Well, and that's also a Hispanic thing, right? I mean,
right. You kiss everybody.
Yeah.
But it's not. I guess the reason I ask is it odd is because when I see people kiss on the lips, even though it's their kid, that's
a little weird
to me. I find that odd.
Depending on what age too, I guess.
All the ages, from a baby up. But I mean, when you see them older, like a teenager, and they're still kissing on the lips, I don't know. But maybe that's just me finding it odd.
No, I
but it's loving. So how can you hate on it? It's loving.
Yeah.
It's not like they're like grabbing them in the.
No, I hope not. But yeah, I would probably agree that it's a little odd. But right. I mean, it is what it is, I guess.
So that's not clingy, though.
No, I wouldn't call it clingy.
Right.
I think clingy would be like where it comes off like an obsession.
Yeah. I like the way my mom taught me love.
Oh gosh.
Money.
Really?
Yeah, she just bought me things. That's how my mom expressed love. She still expresses love that way. If mom loves you, she buys you stuff. Yeah, that's a good love language, I think.
Yeah,
buy me something.
Okay with that.
I'm very touchy-feely too, but she didn't do that to me.
Well, I think
she did the purchasing.
I think it's important too, though. I mean, even mentioning love languages, I think it's important to understand how another perceives love.
Yeah.
kind of.
That's funny that you actually brought up love language. I mean, you're just turning into a regular old therapist there,
yeah.
Trinity.
But I think that's part of it, though, right? Like if somebody's love language is because I've been in these heated debates, if you will, in relationships in the past, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where one person's arguing that I don't even think you love me anymore or whatever,
right,
and then like what are you talking about? I tell you all the time.
Right.
Well, if the person's love language is, let's say, quality time,
yeah,
it doesn't matter how many times you tell them you love them or they're beautiful or whatever. Right. It goes in one ear and out the other.
So them having electricity is irrelevant at that point.
Exactly. But vice versa, right? So if your love language is verbal affirmations, and they're trying to spend time with you in quality time, but you never tell them how much you love them, or we as men, a lot of us are going to be verbal affirmations. Not everybody, but a lot of us. So basically, I need you to tell me why I'm great. I need you to blow up my ego and tell me why you're with me, things of that nature, as opposed to, hey, I made steak for you. Right. I love the steak. That's great and all, but I need you to tell me why I'm great.
Oh,
those kinds of things.
It makes me want to tell you something right now.
Thank you.
Even though you're probably not talking about yourself, it still makes me want to tell you something.
I'm not going to buy you anything. So,
well, that's my love language, though.
I think there's a Red Bull in it.
I think it's important to tell someone what your love language is, though.
I think it's important to know what your love language is.
Know it and then tell the other person.
I think you need to express it.
I think you need both.
And it goes back to last week's show about feelings aren't facts, right?
Right.
Because if you're trying to tell somebody, if somebody's trying to show you how much they love you in a love language other than yours, then it can be very easily interpreted as they don't love me.
Yeah.
They do. They're just not saying it in the way you speak.
Yeah. All right, Dana, you heard that. Physical and finances. That's all I need. Physical and finance.
Nice.
Or let me pay for something for you and you appreciate it. Okay. You don't have to pay something for me. Just when I pay, just appreciate it. So physical, because without that, you hit the road, Jack.
Without that, none of us would be here,
brother.
So remember, we got little ones in the room. So
all right, that's right.
Well, littler, I should say.
So your mom was loving.
Yeah.
See, I took it there just to mess with your head.
Thanks.
You didn't want to be thinking about that.
All
right, so let's talk about another one.
Okay. All
right, independent.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, feeling very independent.
And then the extreme would be detached.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a big one, actually.
I think it's huge. That's why I brought it up.
When I see it today, I see it a lot on my Facebook feed.
Yeah.
And I more so see it with women nowadays.
Right.
They're trying to be strong, independent women.
Right.
And a lot of them are raised that way. And I get it. The previous generation of men left a lot to be desired, I think.
Right.
And so a lot of times the women kind of wanted to raise their daughters to not fall for the same stuff.
Right.
And so consequently, they kind of raised them to be independent, but they forgot to leave in the fact that sometimes in order to make a relationship work, there has to be a little bit of submission there as well.
Right. A
little bit of compromise.
Yeah. I like the word submission. Go with the submission.
Well, my wife might listen to this.
Let me write this down.
I got to make sure I go home.
Trinity, wait, the Dharma Guy said there has to be a little bit of submission as well. Okay, good.
I didn't say who had to submit, though.
Okay.
That's my get out of jail free card, by the way.
That's why I do that. You first.
Yeah. But no, I think that I think there's something to be said for being independent.
Right.
I think there's something to be said for being self-sustained and not needing somebody or something or what they bring to the table.
Right.
As opposed to wanting it.
Okay.
And I think that I think there is something to be said for independent. I like the fact that I'm going to raise my kids, male and female, to be able to sustain themselves.
Right.
They're going to have to know how to do things. They're not going to be so reliant on another person's affection or whatever that they do things that they shouldn't be doing to get that.
Right.
And they define they define their worth through somebody else's.
Right.
However, I do believe it can go way too far and become very detached and very
oh man, there's some seriously
problematic
people.
Yeah. I know myself. I was detached for a while,
right?
Because of the whole hurt people thing.
Yeah, you didn't even. You used to talk crap about marriage.
Oh, I hated marriage.
Yeah,
I was very anti-marriage. I didn't even want kids. I didn't want kids. I didn't want marriage. I didn't want any of that stuff.
Right.
And I think that's just where I was at.
Right.
That's just who I was. That's where I was at on my journey. But I can see where that detachment can create problems.
Right. Where did it create problems?
For me?
Are you willing to say? I mean, I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I mean, usually you share something about yourself, so it's like.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I even really...
At your most detached, how is that problematic? Because somebody might feel it's protective. They're protecting themselves. Like you said, you were afraid of getting hurt. You didn't want to get hurt. So
I think I hurt others.
Okay.
I think that's how probably at my worst attachment. There was a few people in my life that wanted to commit to me and wanted me to be a bigger part of their lives.
Yeah.
And through my detachment, I was like, no, that's not going to happen. And I can imagine that probably crushed them a little bit because they probably felt like there was a deeper bond than what I led on to believe. And I can imagine that's probably soul crushing, man. When you feel like you have feelings for somebody, you feel it's being reciprocated, and then you find out that they just walk away. I got to imagine that hurts quite a bit.
Because you're probably showing them their love language.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it wasn't
your physical wasn't your love language, but if it was theirs, they're thinking, oh, he really loves me because he's really physical with me.
Sure.
Like, no.
But I was very good at making everybody feel present and feel good about themselves.
Right.
But to an extent. Once it got to that line, I was like, I'm good. Not going to happen.
Still detached.
Yeah. And so I think at my worst, that's probably what I did was I probably hurt a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, and made them feel less than or, you know, made them feel rejected and things of that nature. So I think that's probably at my worst was that for sure.
And what's the crash for detached then? What, you know,
the crash for detached? You mean
what's the
down?
crash? Yeah, what's the negative there? I mean, if somebody's sitting right now and they're saying, you know what, as negative as it may sound, the way you guys are talking about it, it's still, you know, the other hurts so bad and I'm not ready yet, so I'm just going to stay detached for right now for the next few years or maybe forever. Like, what's the negative in that?
Well, I don't know what word I would put it as far as a label, but I could tell you the outcome would be, you know, the whole building up walls to keep things out.
Yeah.
It also keeps the good things out. Like, I think right now, you know, sitting behind me, I have a very beautiful little 13-year-old girl that is amazing to me.
Yeah, and I see that she brought your daughter with her, too.
Yeah, exactly. No, the other one's 16, by the way.
Oh, I was kidding. I was messing with
her.
But
I think that...
I was trying to get a rise out of her because she's in frame.
Dude, she's paying attention to her phone, so I could give the cure for cancer and go one and out the other.
Oh, she heard you. She heard you.
But no, I would say that you know, without me letting go of some of those detached kind of concepts, I'd be missing out on a very wonderful wife.
Yeah.
I'd miss out on the kids and everything that she brought to my family.
Right.
My kids would be missing out on everything that they brought as well.
Right.
And so I think that that sense of completeness wouldn't be there.
Right.
And because you would, and that goes.
But
for
you wouldn't even know. That's the thing. See,
that's the hard part
now.
But
yeah.
For sure. Convincing somebody who has only known something their entire lives that it's wrong. Yeah. It's a very hard thing to do.
Right.
And I'm not sure if there's a foolproof answer for that one either. By the way,
because for instance, like I remember asking my cousin in Puerto Rico, one of my cousins in Puerto Rico, I said, "Well, don't you wish you had snow or something?" Because you know, when I found out it never snowed in Puerto Rico when I was a little kid, I thought that was really odd. So I'd ask them, well, "What about snow?" And they go, "Well, I can't miss what I've never known. I've never known it.
Yeah.
So I don't even know what snow feels like, tastes like, feels like." It's like, what? I was like, how do you not know? So I always wanted to take snow to Puerto Rico for them to feel it.
Right.
You know, but I was a little kid. You still think you could take it.
But wouldn't you think, playing devil's advocate here, with all the movies and things that we have these days, with all the exposés, the documentaries, all the different media forms and stuff, you don't think that people get an insight into that, a window into, I wouldn't mind having that?
I think more than before, but you leave it up to a person's interpretation of what they're seeing and on that film, right, or whatever. Sure. Because you still can't really know what something what it feels like without touching it. So if you can't know what something feels like without touching it, how can you possibly think you can emotionally know what it feels like without emotionally experiencing it?
See, I would say, once again, just devil's advocate.
Right.
We all already have it though. Like, we're all born with the ability to do so.
So someone will have to explain that. In other words, that's how. Now here's the other part to that. I think there's people gifted enough, like an Anthony Bourdain, like other writers, that can start detailing it in a way and maybe using metaphors or using examples that maybe you can go, oh, that. So like you said, it feels like alligator skin, and I've touched alligator skin. Right. Well, then that's good. Okay. You know what I'm saying? If you said, well, if you felt a snow cone before, it's a snow cone, but imagine that is what's all over the ground. Exactly. When you feel a snow cone, that's all over the now you've used something that maybe I've experienced before, and therefore I can relate.
Well, because I know, like, one of the things that I found interesting about Buddhism, for instance, is it's asking us to kind of find all these things that are kind of already within us.
Right.
They're not outside of us. Right. The problem is like love, compassion, all these other things. We have it. When you watch two little kids interact, it's there. Mm-hmm. The problem is as we go through life and as we get, scarred up a little bit, we learn how to bury those things a little bit and pretend like they're not there.
Right.
Even though they're there. Right. Like, there was a time in my life where I would have told you that I didn't have the capacity to love like that.
Right.
There's just no way.
Right.
And even my mom was sitting right there can tell you that's complete BS. Because when I was a little kid, I was probably one of the most loving little kids you could find. I was so warm and everything else. Mm-hmm. So it was the things that I went through that kind of took that out. So I'm going to say it's already there, dormant for a lot of people. So, and I think that's why, for instance, some of these movies that we watch are so successful.
Right.
Because it taps into something that's already there. Right. I've seen grown people who claim to have no emotions or whatever.
Right.
Really love like the weird kind of movie.
Yeah,
Why?
I've seen that.
Because it touched you so much.
I've seen that.
It reached in. It was already there. You've just been hiding it for so long. You forgot that it's there.
Yeah.
But it is.
Yeah.
So I do believe though that there's something about that.
Right.
Something about these mediums that can kind of. To touch you, but you have to be open to it. Though.
Well, more than music. More than movies. More like music.
That too.
Like I remember, like people who have their guilty pleasures. I was surprised at some of my friends liking certain groups.
Right.
And I was like, "You like that song?"
Yeah.
And so it let me know something about them. So like when a friend would like a certain artist, like I still remember when one of my I would say my best friend in high school liked Bon Jovi.
Okay.
That freaked me out.
Really?
That was just odd to me.
I'm white, dude, so Bon Jovi's like a hero for us.
Yeah, you know what, though, man? We're Mexican on the border, bro, and when you like Bon Jovi, that to me just said, like, so dude, that's chick music, bro.
I can see that.
And I remember just thinking, what? How do you... I'm here listening to Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, I
like both of those.
Yeah.
But I also like Bon Jovi.
And then, Beastie Boys and Run DMC and all that that came with LL Cool J. But then he's listening to Public Enemy, which was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But when you say Bon Jovi, that to me just didn't even fit in the same arena as those other guys.
Right.
Now, I guess so I'm saying that through music, you can also see somebody's maybe inner passion or inner heart.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what music
now,
is
if he would have
designed
said
to do.
it was... Like if he would have said it was Duran Duran, then he would have had to go away.
Whip it good.
He would have had to go.
Sure.
No, that's Devo.
Is it the?
See, I know the groups.
There you go.
You're talking to an '80s kid.
Yeah, me too. I'm surprised I got that one wrong. Actually,
because one of my guilty pleasures, I did like Prince music, even though I didn't outwardly tell anyone I liked Prince music.
I think that's the case for everybody.
Yeah,
I mean Prince.
I did like it, but there's no way. There's no way I was walking around, saying, Prince, Raspberry Beret.
That's
I'm not singing Raspberry Beret out or When Doves Cry.
So,
but I liked it. I got to admit.
Next time we're driving in the car, you don't want me to turn up really loud at a stoplight?
Oh, now I can.
I'm like, hey.
No, now it's fine. I'm over that.
But no, I truly believe though that it's already within us. I believe it. I think that the tricky part though is, and this might just come with age.
Yeah.
Being at a point on your journey where you're listening to those moments.
Yeah.
Because life is going to try to tap you on the shoulder and get you aware of things.
Mm-hmm.
I got really good at ignoring life for a little while. But life has a way of sneaking up and making you learn some things.
Well, if you sit there and embrace that extreme too long, the problem is you might not come out of it.
Yeah. And that's why we don't
you might stay, and it becomes your norm. Unfortunately, it becomes your norm.
Yeah.
And you'll meet other people where that's their norm. And then so it looks very normal.
And then they encourage you.
Yeah, when you're in an extreme, a lot of people don't know they're in an extreme, though, right, Trinity? I mean, they're sitting so much in, they've been in it so long, and they meet other people that are so extreme that they think that is normal.
Yeah, I mean, I lied to myself and thought it was normal for a while.
Right.
Like, I've had so many people try to convince me that marriage and everything else is the way to go. I'm like, you're out of your mind, man.
Right.
Like, you're nuts.
Right.
And I got like we've had numerous debates. If you look at our old shows on Couch Live,
absolutely,
we had debates on air.
Oh, we on the air.
Yeah.
You would tell us about how ridiculous marriage is.
Absolutely.
That's why when all of a sudden I found out you were married, because you didn't even tell me you were dating Angel.
Oh, here we go. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you never even told us on the air ever.
I didn't tell anybody
that you even had a girlfriend.
You're correct.
Next thing I know, I see, and this is a story for everybody. I've never even seen Trinity in jeans. It's the first time I ever saw him in jeans and married. It was on the same day.
Are you serious?
All of a sudden, he sends his picture from Vegas, or he posts a picture from Vegas where he gets married in Vegas. I thought, did you go there and see a stripper in Vegas and marry her? Is that what you're saying?
Never mind.
No, I didn't know who Angel was.
Right.
I'm just saying, all of a sudden you said, I got married in Vegas. So I'm thinking, did you go to Las Vegas, get drunk, meet a stripper, get married, and now you're going to get divorced? No.
that would be an extreme.
That would be an extreme. I just so happen to meet and go, here's this beautiful woman that you've been dating for a long time, and you never even showed her off. I was very upset about that. I remember that. You see, you're tapping into my resentment that I had towards you because I felt like we were close.
We were, but
we weren't close enough for you. Well, I'm not anybody.
Correct.
Did Mom know? Did you know?
Yes. Well, she didn't know.
She's shaking her head no.
She didn't know I was dating for a while, but she knew when we were getting ready to go married. She knew.
I bet you Angel told everybody she was dating you.
No.
So you were a secret to Angel's friends too?
She actually got the same responses because when she posted on Facebook, everyone was like, "What?" Like she didn't tell everyone.
Like she went out to Vegas and married a male stripper? Yeah, that's what people thought?
I think for us, both of us approached it with neither one of us got into it wanting a full-fledged relationship. We were just kind of being cool, and it kind of led to something else.
Right.
And I think we both realized the value in not putting it out there like all over the place.
Right.
And maybe we took it too far. Maybe we took it to the extreme.
Oh, very much extreme.
But I mean, having said that, I can't regret it because I like where I'm at now.
Right.
You know, but it was never personal for anybody. It's just that was the way we kind of went about it, and it is what it is.
I took it personal.
Neither one was really interested in marriage, so
let me give you another one. We're coming closer.
Yeah, we only got what, about 10 minutes, I think.
Yeah, about 13. So what about dislike? Well, 10 minutes of the show. Yeah. What about dislike?
And that would be hatred, then, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's
exactly because that's a big one right now. There's a lot of people that don't just allow themselves to dislike something; they come off hateful.
Yeah, that's oof.
Like there might even be someone in close proximity that dislikes somebody, and so she dislikes everything the person says, tweets, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but maybe it becomes hateful.
I want to make sure that I remove my.
I didn't hear that. I could have swore there was some feed. Wait, let me check. Let me fix the feedback in my headset. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would say dislike is healthy.
Dislike is healthy.
It's okay to have likes and dislikes. It's okay to not agree with things and not to feel certain things towards something.
Right.
But yeah, when it comes to hatred, that's the extreme, and I think hatred makes you blind to things.
Right.
I think hatred, there's an old phrase, you gotta love to hate kind of a thing.
Right.
And so if you're gonna hate something, you might want to ask yourself why you're so passionate about that.
Right.
What about that is causing you to be that passionate?
Mm-hmm.
Because hatred makes you say and do things that are outside of your character normally.
Right.
It can be very destructive, for sure. Mm-hmm. People have done some crazy things. Wars have been fought for hatred.
Yeah.
People have been killed over hatred, or perceived hatred, I should say.
Right.
And
there's no peace in hatred.
No, it's completely
and
opposite.
Like right now, I hate to bring up politics, but right now there's so many. By the time this show airs, we'll know a lot more.
Right.
But as of today, what just happened yesterday was something pretty big on the world stage. Trump meeting with Kim
Jong-un.
And that was pretty big on the world stage. But some people have so much hatred that they're just poo-pooing all over it.
Yeah.
Instead of wanting it to fail, almost like salivating over the potential failure, instead of saying, "Wow, there could potentially be peace."
And that's the danger of hatred.
And that's the danger of hatred, right?
Let's just.
You don't have to like the guy to embrace a victory.
Let's stop beating around the bush. We're talking about Trump, right? I mean, that's the biggest. That's the biggest political thing out there,
right?
And that is, so I think it's okay to dislike Trump.
Yeah, of course.
It's okay to dislike him.
Yeah.
Doesn't bother me if somebody. It also doesn't bother me if somebody likes him.
And it doesn't bother me to question it. You should question authority. You should have a level of dislike towards authority.
Yeah. So like or dislike, I don't really care.
Right.
But if somebody hates him, that's when I start like, hold up, like really?
Yeah.
Has he ever done anything?
You don't even know him. You don't know him personally.
Yeah. And that's my problem is how can you hate somebody that you've never met?
Right.
You see a character on TV. You see snippets of somebody's day.
And they'll say, I hate what he stands for. I hate what he says. I hate what he's doing.
Sure. And somebody's alive 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you see a 3-minute clip.
Right.
And you're going to judge that entire person's being on that little clip.
Or 144 characters.
Yeah. Can you imagine if somebody did that to us? Like, I've had some bad moments in my life.
They probably do, brother.
Touche. There's somebody watching the show right now who's like, I hate that guy.
We're just not important enough to know about it.
Yeah,
They're not talking about it on CNN.
And I'm okay with that, by the way.
Yeah.
But no, it just hatred is such a.
It is an extreme.
It's such an extreme. It's like, wow, dude. Like,
where do you go from there?
It's just not that important,
right.
And
what's the crash on that?
The crash on the hatred is finding yourself alienated and alone.
Yeah.
Man. Like you're alien and alone, and nobody wants to be around you.
Right. You're very unhappy.
You distance yourself from everything. You got 100 cats all at the house, but you hate them too.
Right.
It's like just misery. It's like, whoa, dude, chill out.
And people have, and you're right. Some people have lost friends over it.
Yeah,
the hatred. Instead of just disliking, it become hateful, and now so they have lost people that have not embraced their hatred.
It backs you into a corner where you kind of have to, right? If I dislike something that you stand for, I can still be friends with you.
Yeah.
But if I hate something, I'm not allowed to hang out. I have to stick to my own belief system.
Right.
I have to distance myself with you if I hate you. Yeah. So it backs you in a corner and it forces you to get rid of things. Right. And so I think that's part of the extreme. I think that's why you shouldn't embrace it.
And one more.
Okay.
One more. Enjoy.
Okay. Ooh, enjoy.
The extreme of enjoying something would obsession.
Obsession? Okay.
Yeah. You're good at this. You guessed all the extremes of everything I gave.
Right on. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Does that mean I'm extreme?
You're just very aware.
So was enjoy was right?
Yeah. Some people just don't allow themselves to just simply enjoy something. Instead, they obsess over it and they can't stop doing it.
You know what?
Or choose not to stop doing it initially. They abuse it, and then if you abuse something long enough, you can become addicted.
Would you compare that to maybe not enjoying the journey kind of a thing? Would you equate those two?
I think that people can obsess on the journey so much that they don't enjoy it as it's happening. Yeah.
Okay. Because I think I can sort of relate to that. There's been times in my life where it's like the other shoe falls sometimes.
Right.
So something good could be going on.
Right.
And I'm not overjoyed by it.
Right.
Because I'm like, all right, well, let's just wait and see what happens. You know. But I think where I'm at now in my life, people view it that way. But I am enjoying it in my own way. And so I think that's also an important thing is you got to define what enjoyment is for you.
Well, I'm sure we all know somebody that, look, I've been guilty of it. One thing is enjoying a video game or something like that. The other thing is obsessing on it. And 4 hours later, you're still on it.
I got a video of my son doing that. So
yeah,
I'm losing his mind.
Yeah.
But no, I think enjoyment is an interesting thing because I think we all have our own definitions of what that looks like.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, myself, I have enjoyment in a certain kind of way, but mine's more reserved.
Right.
And my daughter picks up on that. My youngest one.
The youngest daughter.
So Destiny.
Because the other one was perked up as soon as you said my daughter. She perked up.
Well, so the younger one, Destiny, she's taken after me in the sense of we'll be out doing something fun, and she kind of just is somewhat somber at times.
Right.
And so you can look at me like, are you even enjoying this? She's like, yeah, I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
But because she's not outwardly like, woo, yeah.
Yeah, she does present flat a lot.
Yeah.
I got both my daughters present flat, so I'm used to that.
And so, but the problem though is some people look at that and they don't see enjoyment.
Oh yeah.
Because you're not doing it in the way they think it should go.
Oh, especially Dahlia. Yeah, that's Dahlia for sure.
Yeah. But I think that it's important to understand that they are enjoying it in their own kind of way.
Yeah.
And it's okay to enjoy life. It's okay to enjoy things. Some things are meant to be enjoyed.
Right.
But the obsession though, that's
when you can't stop doing it. Like, I mean, look, that's
starting to go into addiction world.
Exactly. That's when it becomes harmful. Don't you think that's when it becomes harmful? That's if you're in that extreme of you enjoy something so much that you just obsess, and that's all you want to do.
Well, I have another individual that I'm connected to, and I'm gonna be very vague at the moment, so I don't upset anybody.
Oh,
but I have another individual
They're all looking at you. So,
and this particular individual is obsessed with video games to the point to where this individual will miss work sometimes.
Okay, well that person's not in the room then.
Will miss important events.
They all felt safe all of a sudden.
They did.
They all relaxed.
They absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's an example, though, how being obsessed for something can hold you back.
Of course.
There's opportunities that you're going to miss out on. There's growth that you're going to miss out on.
Right.
All because you're obsessed over this one thing.
Well, that's a problem. And that is a problem.
Absolutely.
It's great to enjoy something. Let it be fruitful in your life. Let it be a contributor to your life. But don't let it take away from your life.
Yes.
Don't let it take away some even more valuable things that you may be enjoying. Plus, you increase that tolerance. It's not sustainable. You cannot sustain that level of enjoyment over time and expect it to, because then you think everything should be like that.
Yeah. Well, you start comparing.
And it's not.
Yeah, you start
it's
comparing.
Not. The world is not a video game. If you walk around like the world's a video game, you're going to start smacking people, kicking people.
Some Grand Theft Auto there.
Yeah, that's these are the ones that I like to play sometimes. I like the sport games and then that.
Yeah, I like to kill things.
It's two different things, two different extremes. Kill, rob, and pillage, or what do you call it? Sports. I like the building ones, but unfortunately, all the building ones involve other people, and I don't want to play with other people.
Well, I don't have that.
I like the creating ones.
Yeah.
but they always invite other people, and I tried that once on my cell phone, like a game where I was part of a group or whatever, and I felt too responsible to them, and I had to get off that thing. That was ridiculous.
That was funny.
These grown adults keep wanting me like, you got to be on it and do this. I'm like, no, you know what? I don't.
Nah, bro. I'm good.
I mean, no.
That's funny.
But anyway, all right, so that's it. So what are the three things, Trinity? We talked about all the extremes, how people do embrace their extremes, but we talked about the dangers of embracing those extremes. We've talked about how it's important to at least accept it when it's in normalcy, but by embracing those extremes, it can become very harmful, and there's a crash to that. What are the three things that people need to do?
So the three things, the three tips, right? Because we got to give you guys an action plan.
Right.
I'm assuming you're watching this. You're like, oh, my God, that's so awesome. How do I do that? Right. Well, this is how. So, number one, you got to recognize the extreme. You got to recognize if you're in extreme, if you're heading that way. You can't change it. You can't work on it if you don't recognize it. You have to understand and see it, that it's there. Be honest with yourself, and recognize that it's there. Second one is aim for the middle. And of course, being from a Buddhist philosophy, also known as the middle way, we try to do our best to avoid too high and too low. Both of those end, and if it's too high, it's going to come crashing down. If it's too low, it can lead to some things that you don't want. So you got to aim for the middle. You got to don't get mad at yourself, for instance, if you're not enjoying things to the nth degree. It's okay to, this is pretty good. I'm having a good time. Mm-hmm. I'm not like, whoa, it's okay. Aim for the middle, and you'll always be safe on that one. And then finally, the last one is you got to find some accountability. You got to find a way of holding yourself accountable, because we as human beings are experts at lying to ourselves and justifying everything that we do. Because once again, we have our own perspective, and that perspective is going to make you believe whatever you're doing is the right thing, even if it's not necessarily the right thing.
Right.
So you got to find accountability. You got to find somebody or something in your life, whether it be a therapist, a friend, whether it be some other form of accountability that can kind of keep you on the straight and narrow. And one of the things I like the most, obviously, is spirituality, that quote unquote higher power.
Right.
For me, that's what Buddhism has done for me, because our emotions can kind of sway back and forth, and depending on how I'm feeling, I'll make certain decisions that might not be the best for me. So what I like to do then is have something that I believe in. In this case, it's Buddhism and the spirituality of that. So any decisions that I'm trying to do, I match it up to that and say, does that go along these beliefs? Is that going to get me closer or further from enlightenment? And if it gets me closer, I do it. If it's going to take me further from it, I try to avoid it. So for me, that's part of my accountability, and I'm surrounded by a bunch of good people. I've got Louie, I've got my mother, I've got my buddy Terrence, who's watching this, I'm sure. So I've got a lot of good people around me, and my wife, of course, that can kind of keep me accountable, let me know when I'm straying too far and need a direction. So that would be the three things. You got to recognize the extremes for what they are, recognize when you're in it. You got to start aiming for the middle. Stop aiming for either one of the extremes, and find a way of keeping yourself accountable that you are following the path that you wish to follow.
Right on.
So
love it.
And really quickly before we sign off, got to thank our sponsors here.
Right.
Got to thank Journey Pure, which I was just at earlier today. And if you're watching this when it's originally aired on Tuesday, last week I was there.
Right.
Back in time, man. Back to the future. And of course, Retreat Premier Addiction Treatment Centers. They're also fantastic. I want to go to one of their facilities in West Palm. I got to go see that. We were right down there next to it. We didn't go see it. And then, of course, you got Orange County. Thank you very much, Carol. The Orange County Drug Free Coalition. You guys are always a big supporter of the show. And then last but not least, the Now Matters More Foundation. You can check us out going to nowmattersmore.org and check out what we're all about. Please donate and give us. Without the money, we can't help others. And if you want to reach out, it's 833-NOW-MATTERS, and that's how you can find us. Until next time, now that you know better, do better. Peace.
Right on.
I think he plans it all out. Just makes it up as he goes along.
Human knowledge belongs to the world.